Good morning. You listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Jerry Hosko, the president and COO of Redi Carpet. Jerry, how you doing?
I'm doing great today, Kemp. Thank you.
It's good to talk to you. I've been looking forward to this interview because you've announced your retirement at the end of 2020, this famous year. You're going to step down and retire. So we'll get to that in just a minute. Let me just real quick update our listeners with your background. Redi, most people know on our top 100 dealer list, you're number 15 at around $300 million. Of course, that's our estimate. And so you're the biggest in the multifamily, what they call relay business. You don't do new construction. You change out the floors when apartments are changing out. You're the biggest in that business. And your goal, I think, is to grow with 2 new acquisitions a year. So that's Redi. So you've been there 21 and a half years. And prior to that, you were in flooring, actually, right out of the Navy. Let's talk about the Navy for a minute because I think that's neat. You spent 4.5 years in the Navy. You were in the investigative area. We all know now that's a big entertainment on TV with JAG and NCIS, right?
Yes, it is. I always get a big kick out of seeing that program and thinking about some of the stories and cases that were open back when I was there.
Yeah, and you were telling me you spent those 4.5 years, you had some pretty neat assignments, and you never stepped on a ship, right?
It's true. Not many people can say that, I guess, but in 4.5 years, I had 2 great tours of duty, one in Washington, D.C., where the Naval Investigative Service headquarters are located, and then 2 years of civilian closed duty in London, England.
And then after you left the Navy, you actually got into the flooring business down in Florida on the retail side. You spent some time with Sun Floors, right?
I did. I started in a small retail store called Top Tile in Tampa, Florida, right out of the Navy, and realized that flooring is a great business to be in. Everybody needs it. And then hooked up with L.D. Brinkman Southeast through Jim Trawick, who then renamed the company, bought the Southeastern division, and renamed it to Sun Flooring after that. I was there for 14 years.
All right. Who hired you? Did Greg Wallach hire you, or how did that happen?
Well, it's a great story there, Kemp. After I was with the General Feld Industries for like 10 years, working for Don Howell and Terry Call, and I was running some incentive programs for my customers when I was running the Western division out in California. And Greg and Bruce were customers through Phoenix, part of my territory that I was running. And so got to know them really well on a few trips that we took. And from that, we developed a friendship. And when they had an opportunity in the president and chief operating officer role, Bruce called me, actually. And he and Greg had talked, and that's how we got together. And I started in August of 1999.
Okay. And came in as president.
I did.
All right. So and most people know Bruce Caress is Brian's father and one of the founders of the business, right?
Yes. He was one of the original founders, and he had several partners at the time, but he bought his partners out and became the sole owner.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's look back at the highlights of your career and give us a couple of those.
Gosh, there have been a lot of great memories in my time in the flooring industry, Kemp, which I realized the other day when I looked at it. It's been almost 50 years, obviously. So I think one of the things that I feel really good about was the phone call that I made to Dave Giesling at Floor Expo at the time.
Yeah.
I had known what they were doing with the single-family segment of the industry and consolidating flooring contractors, and I was with Redi Carpet for about 6 months and was finding out that our customers wanted us to be in a lot of cities that we couldn't be in. So I called Dave up and asked him if he would think about doing the same thing for multifamily that he did for single family. And it took a couple, 3 years to get that done, but we joined up almost immediately. And a few years later, the group started to form, and the rest is kind of history.
Yeah.
So that's been a great highlight for me. And I would say the second thing is, though, since I've spent more time here at Redi Carpet than anywhere else, has been the development of Brian Caress, our current CEO and Bruce's son. He was a general manager here in Houston when I joined Redi Carpet. He had actually left the company for a short period of time and had come back, and I quickly realized that he was a very intelligent young man with a lot of potential, and it took a little bit to get his dad convinced to make that happen, but he let me do that and promoted Brian, and we started a development program for him, and it's been really good. He's a really sharp young man and a great leader for the company.
Well, how about that? So you as an individual were the catalyst for FEI Group getting into this whole multifamily segment, And you also convinced Bruce that Brian was the man to run this thing eventually.
I did, and I'm very proud of that. I really am. When I started with Redi Carpet in 1999, Kemp, we finished that year at $26 million in revenue, and that was in 5 cities.
Yeah.
In 2019, we'll talk about pre-COVID, right?
Yeah.
We finished at $322 million and over 500 employees, and we just made an acquisition last week of 2 locations in Northern California, Floor Masters, and so we're now up to 34 locations.
34, okay.
It's been really a lot of fun to be a part of this company and be a part of the team that's made that happen. Obviously, I haven't done it on my own, but we've had a lot of great people to support the cause, and I'm really, really happy with that.
Well, as you look back in the last, 4 years or so, with Greg Wallachy retiring, and now you're retiring, and Brian stepping in as CEO, that's a lot of change at Redi Carpet, isn't it?
It is, and they're all good changes. We spent a lot of time over the years. This goes back many years now in getting Brian ready, and we, in the last few years that both Bruce and Greg have been gone, I have been working with Brian in developing his new team that'll step in and do for Brian what I was able to do and Greg was able to do for Bruce. Mm-hmm. So we're very confident we have the right people in place to take the business to the next level.
Now, let's reflect for a minute. What are some of the key changes you've seen in the flooring business in the last 20 years?
Wow. Well, in the last 20 years that I've been here, I think the biggest thing that's happened has been the evolution of plank and how it's replaced so much of the carpet. Gosh, when I started, vinyl, just hard surface in general, wasn't probably more than 5% of our total business because apartments were just covered up with carpet. Mm-hmm. And the wet areas, the kitchen and the bathroom, were getting, and that was it. And now, of course, it's 50-50, or in many cases, depending on the market, more hard surface than carpet. And then, and how about the move from nylon to PET? Yeah. So, gosh, those have been huge developments over the past 20 years that have had a huge impact on, especially the multifamily business.
Uh-huh. How about that? And what is your outlook for this business for the future?
Well, it's very healthy. Flooring in general, I mean, it's needed. It takes a lot of abuse. It doesn't seem to matter what goes into apartments in particular. It's going to take a lot of wear and tear and a need for replacement, but I think the industry in general is poised to be very healthy for the future. I'm actually very encouraged through this COVID effect to see how well retailers are doing. They've struggled, it seems, their business has struggled, had more ups and downs over the last 20 years, at least what I've seen, and now there's an opportunity for them to really flourish, and they have. Mm-hmm. So that's been good. But I'm really bullish on the flooring industry. It's why I've stayed in it all this time. I'm very happy with it, and it has a lot to offer in the future as well. You
remember what Dave Giesling says? He says, thanks to gravity and friction, there's always going to be a need to replace flooring, right?
That's right. Exactly. And we should remember Dave.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. All right, what's your retirement plan? I guess January 1, you're a free agent. So what are you going to do next?
Yes, we've always enjoyed travel. We will do more of it. Look forward to that. There are certainly a lot of places in this beautiful country of ours that I've not yet seen. Mm-hmm. And, of course, traveling to Europe and other places around the world, South America, there are still some destinations in the bucket list. I like to hike. I like to bike. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things I like to do. Photography used to be a hobby. Yeah. I'll probably do a little bit more of that. I gave up golf a while back, about 6 or 7 years ago, because I was so bad at it. But I think enough time has gone by, Kemp, where I might try it again and then get frustrated all over again.
Well, you know what they say.
It's fun.
Yeah, you got to play a lot of golf. So maybe you just never played enough.
Yes. Yeah, and I don't plan on doing that, but I do love golf courses, and it's a great place to get with friends, and I look forward to that.
All right, Jerry, well, it's great to talk to you, and good luck in your retirement. Again, been talking to Jerry Hosko, the retiring president and COO of Redi Carpet, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.